Behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Austin Powers 4 is confirmed. Austin Powers himself, Mike Myers, has just confirmed that Austin Powers 4 is actually going to happen. That it's coming. And he did it quite bluntly. He was quite blunt about it. He got asked it on the Trevor Noah party, the World Cup party, so, well, whatever. And fans, I think it was, got to ask questions, and he said, yeah. Here's the thing that's wild. Look at the headline. Austin Powers 4 confirmed. 24 years after Goldmember. Goldmember came out 24 years ago. It does not feel that way at all. And of course, now that we're going to possibly get a brand new Austin Powers, the question really does stand.
Let me ask you a question. And be honest. Do I make you horny, baby? Do I? Do I make you randy? Yeah.
Yeah. So let's dive into this. So I still can't get over 24 years ago. So the Austin Powers franchise remains a widely celebrated and endlessly quotable pop culture phenomenon despite taking an extensive hiatus after the last movie distributed another heavy dose of flower power in 2002. The satirical spy comedy saga was put on hold following the release of Austin Powers in Goldmember, but it seems that the titular protagonist has finally got his mojo back, and as Mike Myers has offered a definitively groovy update on the future of the series that will no doubt have fans shouting, yeah baby, yeah. So Myers, who created, wrote, and starred in all three Austin Powers movies, International Man of Mystery, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and the aforementioned Goldmember, has long expressed his interest in a sequel, consistently stating that if a fourth film were to happen, he would want the narrative to focus heavily on Dr. Evil. However, he has playfully kept his cards close to his chest about the status of Austin Powers 4, often teasing that he can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of such a project. So this is the first real definitive time that he's given a blunt answer to the possibility of Austin Powers 4 happening. So as you can see, it was in the Trevor Noah World Cup watch party when someone asked at the party in a Q&A whether audiences would see a fourth installment in the future. And Myers gave a simple, definitive, single-word answer of yes in response to the question, moving away from his usual non-committal and comedically cryptic statements to explicitly confirm that Austin Powers 4 is happening. So, are we possibly going to be seeing a brand new Austin Powers movie come out that could possibly do this?
$100 billion.
Yeah, I don't think it'll quite hit $100 billion, but it is this crazy legacy sequel that could hit $1 billion. That is the weird, crazy thing to say. But you look at what Top Gun did and stuff like that. But here's my other question regarding this. He's now returned for Shrek 5. Pretty sure it is 5, isn't it? He's now confirmed he wants to come back for Austin Powers 4. Could we end up finally seeing a Wayne's World 3? Party on, Wayne. Party on, Gart. Who knows? Of course, the question now is, has too much time passed? Quite frankly, I don't think enough time has passed in terms of how everything has turned now to this weird identity politic, message infused. You can't say this because you might offend that person. You can't do that because you'll offend those people over there. Perfect time then to bring out a new Austin Powers, because you know you're going to melt down the brains of all the weirdos and freaks out there. But maybe that's exactly what we need to do, because as Millie Alcock and so many others before her like to say, as long as you're pissing off the right people, you're doing okay. So if we could piss off the right people by offending them with simple jokes, you know, where imagine that all of these do-gooders that want their equal rights and all this and identity politics, how much they would freak out if they saw Austin Powers with a woman simply saying,
Let me ask you a question. And be honest. Do I make you horny, baby? Do I? Do I make you randy? Yeah.
or the fact that it would be it's a man, or the fact that there's a big obese guy called Fat Bastard because he's fat and his name is Bastard. You know they would have a meltdown. The only problem I can see at the moment isn't anything to do with, well, the story being stuff, because they said there he wants to seemingly focus the story on Dr. Evil. Doing that, you have to look at the big glaring hole in that story, which is Mini-Me. Because, of course, Vernon, what's his second name? Can't think of his second name, passed away. So, you've lost that key element. And that's tragic. Because the dynamic between Dr. Evil and Mini-Me is hysterical. Like, it really is one of the funniest things that's there. So how do they get around that? Do they just kill off Mini-Me at the beginning of it or something? I doubt they recast. How do you recast a guy that was like 2 foot? Like, seriously. And he was Mini-Me, so you can't really cast or recast Mini-Me. Now, the funny thing is, Mike Myers originally wanted Austin Powers to be like James Bond. And he wanted a new movie out like every 3 or 4 years. And he wanted up to like 19. He was like, I want 19 of these movies. But by the time he had finished doing Austin Powers 2, he was pretty much burnt out. He was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. I'm already bored and over it. And that really showed in, for me anyway, it really showed in Goldmember, because he really did kind of phone in a lot of his performance. I'm not a big fan of Goldmember. Absolutely loved the first 2 movies. They are hysterical. But that third movie, yeah, it just didn't really land for me. It's still funny, and there is still some hysterically funny parts in it. It's just like the Fat Bastard farting moment. Like, that part is great. But there's just a lot of parts that are hilarious. But it just seemed like he was phoning a lot of it in. Beyonce, I can't stand Beyonce being in it. She was terrible, but it was just kind of like, yeah, you could see that he was over it at that stage. But now that 24 years have passed, yeah, you can definitely be refreshed and ready to get back into that type of character. And of course, again, if he jumps back in there, and even if he makes a Wayne's World 3 and stuff like that, could we be looking at movies that could possibly earn
$100 billion?
Probably not, but hey, who knows? Overall, I am excited for an Austin Powers 4, providing it's done right and, you know, we get exactly what it needs to be, which is, don't pussyfoot around anything. Be balls to the wall. Be Austin Powers. In terms of asking women, do I make you horny, baby? Punching women that are men and all this type of stuff. As I said, piss off the right people, as they like to say. So, what do you guys think? Are you up for Austin Powers 4? How do you think they'd get around the Mini-Me factor? And do you think it is the right time to piss off the right people with this type of comedy? Let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.